Hi, so this is a short video on how to connect an LED bulb and turn it on and off into on your Arduino board. Um, so the first thing we're going to do is actually just I'm going to show you how the physical connections, and then in another video I will write the program with you and experiment with the program to see how we can actually program with Arduino. But first, let's set this up. So you need to get your breadboard. And in a previous video, I mentioned that how both sides of our breadboard are not connected. Um, but if you want to use both sides, we won't in this example, but if we do, it's really kind of important to hook up the negatives of both sides of the board with a jumper cable. So sort of like that. And one thing I want to emphasize, I did in the other video, was that the colors of the jumper cables, they don't matter. They're there for our convenience. Sometimes we make use of a color to make a certain connection. So in this case, black usually means negative. So here I use the black cable to hook the negative to the negative. Um, Likewise, red is positive. So eventually we're going to have to hook this up to the Arduinos as well. So in this case, I'm going to hook up just on this side. I'm just going to use the red over there to the positive, and eventually we're going to have to hook up a negative to the Arduino as well. So I'll put in a jumper cable in so that it looks like that. Okay, so right now it's probably going to be easiest to just do everything on the breadboard first, and then we'll make the actual connection to our Arduino controller afterwards. Because just so that we're not fiddling around with both things at once. Most of the things are going to actually happen on our breadboard, and then on our Arduinos it's just going to be connecting a few jumpers to the appropriate pins on Arduino. So get an LED. So for this example, I'm just going to use green. One of the things that you'll make note on the LED is that one of the pins is longer than the other. So it's really important to remember that the longer side is positive and the shorter side is negative. You can also tell on the LED itself, there's a flat side. Okay, maybe it's hard to tell in the video if you look closely on your end. There's a flat side, you can feel it. There's a flat side, that's the negative side, and the other side is obviously the positive side. So we want to hook this up to our board. And what we do not want to do is hook up the pins on the same row. Because remember in the last video I said that the pins, the row, they're all interconnected. So really we're hooking up the positive and the negative together on the same circuit, which is not what, sorry, on the same line, which is not what we really want. So we want to split this up across two different rows. And it's really important that you remember which side's positive and which side's negative. So on this case, for me, it's kind of hard to show in the video. I'm going to put the positive on the bottom, and I'm going to make it all the way over to the middle, closer to the middle, so we have some room for the jumper cables. So for me, the positive's on the bottom, and the negative is on the top. And it doesn't really matter which rows I'm going to choose. It's not really defined. We just have to make sure that when we're connecting the cables, we use the exact same row as well. Okay, so again, for me, the negative's on top, the positive's on the bottom. Now we want to add the resistor. So here I got a 2200 ohm resistor. And what we want to do is we want to connect the negative. So we'll find the negative on our light. So that negative side. So that said that was the top. Kind of hard to see with these cables up there. That was on the top. And then we want to hook the other side of the resistor to the negative pin on the breadboard. So let me do that. So hopefully you can kind of see that it looks something like that. So the negative is on the top, and then it's on the same row I got the resistor that's hooking to the negative. So really want the negative outside with the resistor. Then I'm going to take another jumper cable. In this case, I'm going to take a rather long one. Well, in this case, since I got a green LED, I'm going to choose a green jumper. And this is really kind of helpful. We're going to, later on we get some projects. We got a lot of different lights. you might want to choose a different color for your jumpers, just so that when we hook it to Arduino, it's kind of clear which one that we're using. So with the jumper here, we want to connect the positive side. So like that, so the positive side. And in this case, we're going to leave it because this is the one that we want to hook up to our Arduino. So that's sort of it on that part. So hooking up the LED. Now if we take the Arduino, what we want to do is we want to take the black cable and we will hook up to the ground that's on our Arduino. So over here, take the black cable, hook to the ground. So there's two grounds on this Arduino, so it doesn't matter which one you want. You do. So again, it's kind of hard for you to see, but there's the black to the ground, and here we'll hook the positive to the 5 volts. So on mine, that happens to be right next to the ground. So now we completed the circuit on our Arduino. So it kind of looks like that. And finally, we need to hook up the positive that was on the light bulb, the green one, to one of the pins on the Arduino. So on this side, there's a whole bunch of pins. It's labeled, it's numbered from 0 to 15, I believe. No, 0 to 13. We could choose any one of them, but it's important to remember which one, because when we program it, that's the part that we have to say that we want to sort of activate. So 8's my favorite number. So in this case, I'm going to hook up the green to pin 8. Okay, hopefully you can kind of see that okay. And the last thing I just want to do on this video before I end it is hooking up our USB. So we're going to hook up to our Arduino. So just plug it in just like that. And the other end, obviously, is going to go into the computer. I'm not going to plug that in yet. I'm going to just go off and we're going to write the code first. And then we'll plug this in and then hopefully we'll see if the code works.